All right, guys, it is that time again. Only this time, instead of talking about only the Heroes Journey, we're going to be talking about another recent fan-made emulator that kind of crashed and burned recently. Um, and I say that metaphorically. Obviously, the server is still going to be fine, but if you saw the Reddit comments in the Discord, you would literally think that the whole world was burning down. And I'm talking about Epoch, the new WoW server that is going to be launching sometime in the future, but did try to do a launch about a couple days ago, I believe about the 23rd, 24th, and had a less than desirable launch. Let's just put it that way. But some updates on this that have been the most recent update I could find was first off, thank you for sticking with the project. Now, this is from Kate Notes, or K-Totes or whatever, and it's going to say, through many years of development and our turbulent release weekend, the volume of players is beyond what we could have imagined, and we know that many people have concerns based on our sparse updates and unstable servers. So first, we're going to touch base on that. I will obviously give them the fact that the Discord grew exponentially in the last couple of weeks of, before launch. I think that that's going to be expected with something that has been in production for years waiting. And I think that they actually had a release date of last year in the summer, and they pushed it back a whole nother year to get things, squared away and kind of pieced together. But they definitely should have been able to tell that this was going to be a large release. Now, if you read back in the Discord and you look at the actual, I guess the way they talked about it in the beginning seemed like they kind of wanted this to be something much smaller, almost like they wanted to have a good group of friends that could raid on their server, and that was about it. I don't think they planned on having 100,000 people wanting to play their WoW server. But whenever you've got such a hole to fill in the MMO community, it's not difficult to understand why people saw something new that looked like a passion project that was going to explode. It's going to get the recognition and everything else, and people are going to want to come over there and try it out. But I do believe that they should have been a little bit more prepared for the amount of people. Do I think that they should have been prepared for 40,000 people to try to log in on day one? No, I don't think that that was something that they could have understood. But thinking that they were only going to be able to accommodate 2,000 players per server, that seems like it was either, you couldn't have overlooked that. There's just no way. But anyways, we want to start with the apology. Despite our efforts to be prepared for you, we were not. Our team has never run a project at this scale, and we weren't coordinated in a way that could easily respond to the reality of the live server. We have a lot of willing hands from experienced developers, but not clarity of roles, which left you in the dark about what to expect from us. This is the top thing we want to improve as we move forward on a technology solution. We are very optimistic about the internal changes we have made in response and our ability to better communicate going forward. See, I don't feel like the communication was bad, to be honest. I mean, the server came up, a billion people tried to log in, couldn't get in. There were, 10-hour queues. Like it was really only optimized for 2,000 people, and you had, 40,000 people trying to blow their way through the doors. I mean, I don't know what communication could have done there other than we're not launching today. We see the amount of response we've had on the Discord. We see the amount of pre-registrations we've had. We see the amount of people that came in and claimed their names, days before the official launch. We can't accommodate this many people. We know the hardware we have is not going to accommodate this many people, and we're not going to do that to the player base that has been waiting this long to play. That would have been the solution. Anything other than that, communication wouldn't have mattered. Them telling you that they couldn't get the server going, I mean, I don't understand how that would be different than people sitting there and waiting 12 hours to get into the server. It's the same thing. So the only thing that I can say is that they were unprepared, which honestly, it sounds like I said before that they had the original idea of having this much smaller, much more personalized, much more intimate, that they wanted their people to have, you know, more like a couple of raid groups full of people that were going to consistently play and enjoy, you know, the stuff that they created. I'm not really sure that they wanted this many people to be playing their server. But be that as it may, it only accommodates about 2,000 people, and about 40,000 people try to blow their way through the doors. So it does say here, we have a lot of willing hands from experienced developers, but not clarity of roles. So I don't think that's uncommon. If you've got people that have never been in some kind of a managerial position and don't know how to delegate certain things or whatever else it is, and you've got 15 chiefs and 2 Indians, it's very difficult to say, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, because everybody's doing their own thing, and it kind of comes together into like this big pot, and then they kind of piece it together. But in a real world setting, whenever you've got this many players wanting to be involved in what you've got going on, you do have to have roles, because when one thing breaks and everyone else looks at it as, well, that's someone else's problem, I'm working on this, it doesn't get fixed. So anyways, as mentioned earlier, we took half a day to regroup, and after analyzing both the server and database performance in depth, we now feel we have a very concrete plan on what needs to be addressed and how to go about doing it. In the past 2 hours, we identified the largest performance bottleneck, assigned internal responsibilities to address it, and started a broader approach to provide reliable service regardless of how any one specific optimization fix works out. So I am by far not a programmer, and I'm not a Geek Squad dude. So what I can do is read and interpret what people are saying in the comments and everything else that do seem to have some form of background in this or whatever it may be. And they said that it's literally where they're getting their server from. Now, granted, I'm not going to play devoted only to Epoch, only because whenever I did the initial testing through just seeing what my ping would be, it was about 180 where I am in Central Texas. And that was with no players on, no server running, or whatever it may be. So I'm not going to be able to super enjoy any kind of late game thing on Epoch, just due to the fact that I'll probably be pushing 300 to 400 ping. That's not something that I like super enjoy playing with. I know that some people say it doesn't matter, you're not going to notice. I will, but that's just one of those things. But I don't know. It seems like they've got a good understanding of what's going on. I don't feel like, I feel like most people that tried to log in to a server that they said was only going to be able to hold 2,000 people, I feel like whenever, you know, that many people, you know, tens of thousands of people try to log in, it's not abundantly difficult to understand what the problem was. But be that as it may, our path forward isn't something that can be resolved overnight, but it isn't dependent on crunching out weeks-long complex optimizations either. This means the servers will not be up for anything besides testing for the next few days. So that's worded in the sense that it's not going to be up tomorrow, but it's also not going to take weeks to get it up. Now, does that mean that it's going to be up in 5 days? In a week? I don't know. Like I said, this server was supposed to release last year and it backed up. So I'm not 100% sure that I would be super duper confident on their ability to release it when they are expecting to release it. Now, that's not a diss at any of these developers. That's just saying that sometimes this stuff just doesn't work its way out. Another thing is, if this is going to cost a substantial amount more money to get things going for, you know, servers, you know, performance things like that, and they haven't gotten the donation basis they need yet to be able to do that, and they're not all sitting here just wiping with $100 bills, and at that point they may not be able to do it just yet. But we are not able to give a full timeline right now, but we will provide a more detailed update within the next 24 hours. So they know it's not going to take weeks, but they can't give a timeline. So that kind of makes me think like, well, we're not really sure when this is going to be coming out. But anyways, our next update will include details about what has been going on behind the scenes, what our fix requires, and what you can expect moving forward. We know we have to re-earn your trust now, and that's absolutely fair. We are committed to Project Epoch, and we thank you for sticking with us and believing in the project. We will unlock general chat with a long slow mode at some point today. Please keep in mind our Discord rules when participating in chat. So Discord was basically shut down because I tell you what, that's another thing, and I'm just going to touch base on this right now because this is actually kind of important to me. Whenever you're looking at a server that you want to play on, and you're going to spend substantial amount of time on it, especially something like an MMO, that you're going to be, oh man, some people play this like it's a job. You are going to have to like the population that you're playing with. If you've got a bunch of toxic people everywhere around you, it's going to make the gameplay bad. It just is, you know, whether it be people, you know, just ditching out of instances later on, you know, blowing out of hardcores, just trolling nonstop. You know, it's just one of those things that if you've got people just logging in to grief, you're going to have a bad time. And judging on the Discord, now again, I wouldn't say every single player that logged into Epoch is a bad person at all. I would say that a lot of them are extremely passionate WoW players that have, you know, just blasted through the content on retail WoW, gone through the classic experience and wanted something new, and these guys promised that. Much like the Heroes Journey EverQuest server that is now going through the litigation and stuff, they're offering something custom that I believe that the player base and fans of WoW have been asking for, and they're doing it, such as undead paladins and you know, different kinds of class roles and things like that. Now, in the same sense, these people that are in the Discord that are being negative, they are the loudest about it. It's like, whether you're right or wrong, they're going to be loud about it, and they're really, really mad. Now, a lot of people have the argument that it's a free server, so you can't be mad. Well, I kind of want to counter that in a sense, because you don't have any idea. These people could have easily been logging in strictly to spend 2 or 3 hours to see if the server was stable, and then they could have been donating immediately right then and there. And that's the unfortunate part about when you have these free projects, these fan-made projects, these emulators. It is free, absolutely, but you do have to understand that you have the people that are making this, they have somewhat of a responsibility to the community at that point if they're asking for donations. In my opinion, you can call it a donation all you want to skip out on the legality of the fact that you're charging people to play. But the slim fact is that most of these emulators would not be able to stay up without donations. So therefore, all they're doing is taking money from those that can and letting the other people pay. So basically, it's just like, I hate to use the word communism of the emulators, you know, whatever, but you know, the people that have excess money are now paying for the ones that don't want to spend it or don't have it to be able to play on your emulator. That is quasi charging people to play on your emulator. If they can't play without the donations because the server would go down, they have to donate to play, then they're being charged to play, period. That's just what it is to me. And when you're charging someone to play, they're going to have an expectation of you to be able to provide a service, not only in a meaningful way, but also in a stable way. And so I kind of understand, in a sense, why people are upset, because they could have, again, a lot of people are saying, well, they didn't pay anything yet, so why are they upset? Okay, well, they waited years to play this game, or this server, and it's kind of like when you walk into Walmart, you haven't spent a dime yet, but you could be there to spend $1,000. Well, it's the same thing here. You know, they walked into this server ready to spend money, more than likely to be able to support the project and everything else, if they haven't already supported the project, and it took a dump, you know, day one. So just one of those things. And then that they kind of keyed it together with like, hey, we'll stop everybody at level 10 or 15 or something crazy. If we're gonna do this to where you can only stay on for like 4 hours or something. I know there was a lot of suggestions in the comments and things, and the toxicity is wild. I know that World of Warcraft Gen Chat has always been kind of known to be less than politically correct, but the actual hostility in the comment section and things like that, especially in the Discord, have been insanity. So I'm going to hold off respectfully until they get this stuff worked out, obviously. Going to be waiting my turn. I've been playing World of Warcraft Classic, having a lot of fun. I never played Classic, so this is kind of a new thing for me. And while I kind of wait for the Heroes Journey thing to kind of settle out, I was hoping to have this stuff kind of worked out quicker. That way I could get on and do my solo self-found thing, the actual mode itself. But I think we have to wait a little bit for that. They're going to be coming out with some more information in the, you know, mid-August for that. But this has been very strange to see, because, you know, you've got two major server issues in the past month and a half. You've got the massive litigation on the largest server for EverQuest, the Heroes Journey, and now you've got a I keep using the word failed launch. I don't want to be rude. It's not that I think that the whole server failed. I think the server will do fine. In fact, I'm hoping that this issue kind of weeded out some of the underwhelming people that were in the chat that are obviously just toxic. But we'll have to see what exactly happens there. But yeah, I think the server will do fine. Like I said, it's got a very unique blend of things that people have been asking for: customization, you know, a bunch of new, you know, race class combinations, new instances, new raids, all the good stuff that people have been wanting that they really haven't been able to get from the, you know, Blizzard themselves. So, but it kind of brings me back to the Hero's Journey as well. And it's like, dude, whenever this stuff doesn't work out the way it's supposed to, you start seeing some major toxicity come out of the players that just feel like they're owed something. And like I said, I feel like that comes from them believing in their mind that they're a customer. You know, they've paid for a product or a service, and the fact that you call it a free service with only accepting donations doesn't mean that makes it feel any less deserved for those players that have pumped hundreds of dollars, some of these whales thousands of dollars, into your server. And then you're just like, well, we're shutting it down, or we're not doing this, or we're not doing that. It's like, I get that you think that it's free, but it hasn't been for me. So I kind of understand their viewpoint on it. It's kind of a weird viewpoint for me, because I haven't pumped thousands of dollars into any of this stuff. The way I look at it is, if I'm going to be playing on a free server, I typically cancel my live accounts and play on the free server, you know, until I get bored of it. And then I go back to whatever I want to do: Ultima Online, EverQuest, WoW, Final Fantasy 14, whatever it may be. And while I'm playing the free server, I just basically donate whatever I would have donated, or whatever I would have been paying for like a live subscription. So like whenever I was playing EverQuest, typically you have to have 2 accounts. So that's $30. Donate $30 to THJ or whatever it may be. But I know that some people out there spend a substantial amount more, and some people don't spend anything at all. It just depends on that thing. But at the end of the day, most of the servers would not be able to operate without the donations. So to me, it just doesn't necessarily feel free. And I don't know what's going to happen with the THJ thing. I'm not 100% sure. The more and more I read, the more and more I look into things, and the more and more I'm actually kind of sitting back and realizing that, you know, Daybreak and EverQuest, you know, that I grew up with, sure, they screwed it up in the end. You know, like Daybreak hasn't been listening to the players and everything like that. But I mean, they gave me a good solid 15 years of amazing experiences growing up that I will never be able to relive now. Not on current games. I haven't found anything that even comes close to reliving what that nostalgic trip was for me as a kid. So it's very difficult for me to just sit here and be like, yeah, you know what, Daybreak, and, you know, hopefully the whole thing just burns down and everything. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. But I mean, I also don't want THJ to shut down. So I'm kind of at that crossroads of what needs to be, you know, looked at there. But that is a story for another day. But as far as the Epoch thing, I think that it's going to do just fine. I really do feel like at the end of the day, players are the real players that wanted to play it, that aren't just looking for a new server to go in and be toxic and everything else on, are going to stick it out. They've already stuck it out for a year if they were planning on it, and they're going to continue to stick it out. and that's just going to be what they do. It's what they've done for the last couple of years. It's what they're going to continue to do for the next month or 2 months or whatever it may be, until the server launches and it's more stable. And if that means that it takes enough time for the popularity to fall off and for there to be a lot less players going into it, I know that there are those people that are like, oh, it didn't launch right, so I'm not going to play anymore. I have not played on a single MMO, and I'm 38 years old, well, actually 39 today, and I have not played on a single MMO my entire life that did not screw up launch day. Period. I haven't played on a single MMO that didn't have multiple screw ups on simple patches. So to think that these guys are just absolutely terrible because they didn't have the launch that people expected, in my opinion, it's just asinine. A company as large as Daybreak, company as large as Blizzard, screw up simple patches all the time, blow through different updates. They just released Pandaria on Classic, and we had downtime. Extended downtime, I apologize. And that's with slews of people working on it, and everything else. So the fact that people didn't think that there was going to be some form of downtime on this, regardless of how many stress tests they do and everything else, is kind of crazy to me. But again, I think it'll be just fine. Epoch looks like it's going to be great. The only problem is that obviously they have to be based out of the country, or Blizzard would sue them into an early grave. So European ping for me isn't exactly choice for what I'm looking for. But I have played other games. Like you can get away with it on some games. And WoW is one of those games where you can get away with a little bit worse ping just because of the fact that I don't know why, actually. It just seems like you can. Turtle WoW, again, was one that I feel like it underperformed for me. Not the server itself, like as far as what it offered, just how my performance was, just playing it. It didn't hold up. It was real finicky, laggy, that kind of stuff. So I really didn't enjoy it. Now, I don't have a problem going back and paying Blizzard to play World of Warcraft either, because I like Diablo 3, I like Diablo 2, Diablo 4. I like a lot of the Blizzard products, so I get to play all of those games with my Blizzard account or whatever, or retail WoW, WoW Classic, all that stuff. So it doesn't bother me at all to be able to pay them. I know that some people are diehard, Blizzard sucks now, or Daybreak sucks now, I'm not going to give them more money. I get it. You do your thing, but I've not been unhappy at all with World of Warcraft on any basis. I just thought that it would be cool to play Epoch because of the new features, and obviously I'm probably not going to stick around to do that just because of the ping I'm going to have and everything else. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just kind of wanted to touch base on what was happening with the Epoch community and what you can expect if you're trying to get on. If you haven't tried to get on yet, I would probably just sit tight and wait. Do your reading on what the Epoch community has to offer. You will be impressed. The server itself is going to have a lot of new features, a lot of great new standalone things that are going to kind of separate it from the other WoW emus out there. But kind of do your research too, and see what you're going to ping up at. And see if it's going to be something, because the last thing you want to do is wait, and then log in there and find out that you're running 450, 500 ping, and you got that delay every single time you press 1 to shoot a fireball or whatever it is. So just do your research and figure out if it's going to be something for you. If it's not, then go find something that may be something that a lot of people are going to have to find out themselves when all these people log in and find out, hey, the server is not for me. And then all of a sudden you're going to have it back down into appropriate levels, hopefully, where they can, keep the server going and everybody will be fine. So, well, that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not yet, subscribe. I try to cover, I'm going to be obviously covering the legal basis of the Heroes Journey versus Daybreak Games. I will try to do any kind of follow-up on Epoch, just because WoW interests me a lot. And I know that this is going to be popular for the WoW community. I am doing WoW Classic videos live with my wife. We have been playing WoW Classic and having a lot of fun. So if you guys are interested in that, I'd absolutely love for you to tune in. Or even, honestly, if you want to tune in and join us, get some characters going, we can go run some instances or whatever else it is. So thank you again for watching, and you guys have an awesome day.